Today, I will be ranking Dokken's albums from worst to best. Really great band. It's one of my all-time favorites. A little bit of background on them for those of you who don't know. They formed back in the late 70s. The classic lineup of the band was Don Dokken on vocals, George Lynch on guitar, Jeff Pilson on bass, and Mick Brown on the drums. But something I'll say about Dokken is it always seems like they have a great guitarist. If it's not George Lynch, who is my favorite, they've had Reb Beach on one album, John Norum on an album, and John Levin on the last 3 albums. All great guitarists, so a lot of great guitar work. If you like shredding, amazing guitar, I don't see why you wouldn't like Dokken. So I'm going to give my ranking of their albums 11-1. Here we go. Coming in at number 11 is going to have to be Shadow Life. Came out back in 1997. Was their final album with George Lynch, unfortunately, and it's a pretty bad one to be his final album with the band. They were kind of going with like an alternative rock thing here, and it didn't really work in my opinion. Didn't work at all, honestly, and I don't like any of the songs really, but looking at the track listing, there's like a decent guitar solo in the song Sky Beneath My Feet and Cracks in the Ground, but other than that, really just don't like any of this stuff much. So yeah, number 11, Shadow Life.
We live in sunless days, no horizon through the storm. Your love I sailed upon, like a wind to carry
us. Long Way Home comes in at number 10, got it right here on CD. Came out back in 2002 and was their only album with John Norum on guitar. Really great guitarist. He plays with Europe, and he played on Don Dokken's 1990 solo album called Up From the Ashes. And it kind of hurts to rank this album so low because there is a couple songs that I do really like on here. The opening track, Sunless Days, is really good. Has a great chorus. Under the Gun is really good. Has a really great guitar solo from John. I just feel like they kind of underutilized Norum on this album because he's a great guitarist. I was expecting this album to be a lot better than it is when I first listened to it. It was kind of underwhelming. It was also their first album with Barry Sparks on bass, so no more Jeff Pilson on any of the albums after this. But not terrible, but definitely has to come in down at number 10, Long Way Home. Coming in at number 9 is going to be Dysfunctional. Came out back in 1995, and at the time, it was their first album in 8 years, so I think that fans were expecting a great album, especially after how good Back for the Attack was, then Nothing for 8 years. They get the classic lineup back together, expecting a really great album, and it was a pretty good album. It's not great, but not terrible. There is definitely some pretty dang good songs on here. Just looking at the track listing, you know, that song, Too High to Fly, is really good. Shadows of Life is good. What Price is a really good song. But, you know, it's just kind of got that 90s feel to it a little bit. Doesn't sound like that classic Dokken sound. Hole in My Head has a good George Lynch guitar solo. It's not a bad album. I do just like the rest of these albums a good bit, and hard to rank, but it does have to come in at number 9, Dysfunctional.
too much conversation, kinda wrote our little mind. My emancipation comes with solitude tonight.
Erase the Slate comes in at number 8, came out back in 1999. This was their only album with Reb Beach on guitar. He replaced George Lynch, so first album without Lynch, but they did get pretty much the best possible replacement. Reb Beach is a really great player, plays with Winger and Whitesnake right now. A lot of really great guitar solos and riffs on this album. The title track, Change the World, Drown, Haunted Lullaby, all good songs, good riffs and solos. This was their last album with Jeff Pilson on bass, the classic bass player. Solid album, but does have to come in at number 8 for me. Erase the Slate. Coming in at number 7 is going to be Hell to Pay. Came out in 2004 and was their first album with current guitarist John Levin. He's played on 3 of their albums so far, and he's a really great guitar player, as are all of the guitarists that have played with Dokken. Lays down a lot of really great guitar solos and riffs on all the stuff he plays on pretty much. But this album, looking at the track listing, a lot of really good stuff. The Last Goodbye, Don't Bring Me Down, Escape, Haunted, Prozac Nation. All good songs. Don't Bring Me Down has an amazing guitar solo. Highly recommend to go listen to that. But, yeah, overall, very solid album. Hell to Pay, number 7.
When I close my eyes, will I see you anymore?
Broken Bones comes in at number 6, came out in 2012, and it is currently their most recent album. Very solid stuff here, I think. The opening track, Empire, is really great. It has an amazing classic feel to it. The title track, and I'd probably say Tonight, are my favorite songs on it, but all of them, except for Today, which is like an acoustic type of thing, have ripping guitar solos from John Levin. Really great stuff from him. He's a great guitarist. But this is a good solid album. Comes in at number 6 for me, Broken Bones.
In the car, slam the door, turn the key and I'll be free. On the highway tonight, highway bound, I'm so alive, I'm shifting into overdrive.
Coming in at number 5 is going to be Breaking the Chains. This is their debut album. There's 2 versions of it. The first one came out in 1981. The second version came out in 1983. A lot of the same songs. I'll be talking about the 1983 version. Just that's the one I like better. The opening track, the title track, is amazing. One of their best songs of all time. The closing track, Paris is Burning, live version from 1982, is really great. Amazing guitar work from George Lynch. Then some really underrated stuff on here. Felony is a good, not really talked about song that much. And Night Rider is amazing. Just there's a couple kind of weak songs, but Live to Rock, Born to Live is a really good song as well. Pretty strong debut. Breaking the Chains, number 5.
You knew there'd be consequences when I gave you the keys to my heart.
Coming in at number 4 is going to be Lightning Strikes Again. Came out in 2008. A really good album, in my opinion. Probably the kind of surprising pick of the list so far, being above the debut album and all. But just has to come in at number 4 for me. Really good. Trust me, if you haven't listened to it, give it a shot. They did a really great job of bringing back that classic 80s sound here. A lot of these songs sound like they could have been on Back for the Attack in 1987. Just looking at this track listing, lots of really good stuff. The opening track, Standing on the Outside, is really good. Give Me a Reason's great. Judgment Day is great. This Fire, the final track, is really good. Lots of really good solos and riffs from John Levin. Don Dokken's voice still sounds good in my opinion. So yeah, just has to come in at number 4 for me. Lightning Strikes Again. Tooth and Nail comes in at number 3 for me. Got it here on vinyl. Really great classic album, which was actually my number 2 for a really long time, but just felt like I should move it down to number 3 right now. Still very great stuff regardless. The opening little track, Without Warning, is really cool leading into the title track. Tooth and Nail, which is amazing. Probably George Lynch's best guitar solo. A lot of really great songs on here. Don't Close Your Eyes is good. When Heaven Comes Down is good. Into the Fire is great with an amazing guitar solo. The final track, Turn on the Action, is a really great and underrated song. A lot of good stuff. Alone Again, the ballad on here, is actually pretty good if you ask me, but a lot of really good stuff. Tooth and Nail, number 3. Back for the Attack comes in at number 2. Got it right here on vinyl. Came out in 1987, and as I said before, it recently moved above Tooth and Nail and into the number 2 spot. Both really good, but I'm just starting to think this one's a bit better. A lot of really good songs, but some of my favorites are probably the opening track, Kiss of Death. Amazing guitar solo in that song from George Lynch, one of his best of all time. Mr. Scary, the instrumental, amazing guitar work from Lynch there as well. Just looking at this stuff, Night by Night's great. Heaven Sent has a really amazing guitar solo as well. Cry of the Gypsy's another favorite. The closing track, Dream Warriors, is really good. Of course, it was in the movie Nightmare on Elm Street 3. But lots of really good tracks. Very, very great album. 1987's Back for the Attack, number 2. Under Lock and Key comes in at number 1 for me. Got it here on vinyl as well. And this is just a really amazing album. Came out in 1985. A lot of this list was really hard to rank, but there was never a doubt for me. This has always been my favorite Dokken album. Just right from the beginning, the epic intro of Unchain the Night, and it breaks into that amazing guitar riff from George Lynch. Just love this album. The Hunter, In My Dreams, one of my favorite songs by them. Lightning Strikes Again is an amazing underrated song. It's Not Love, Till the Living End, Will the Sunrise. So many great tracks on here. Amazing album. One of my favorites of all time. Under Lock and Key, number 1. So that was my take on Dokken's discography. Really love this band. One of my all-time favorites. And you guys can just let me know what you thought. Give me your ranking of their discography. Give me some more bands that you might want to see me rank. But yeah, thank you for watching. Until next time.